still organising myself. How are you? How are you? BlaXit family, BlaXit family, BlaXit family, BlaXit family. How are you today? Whoa, it is a beautiful day in paradise. We're here in the Gambia, the beautiful, beautiful Gambia. That is one of the smallest countries in West Africa. That is where we hail from. Just adjusting the camera slightly. Okay, so I can see you and I can see your comments. So please let us know that you're with us on the live. I will do a little announcement now just so that you know that BlaXit is live on the community page. Many people are telling me that they are not actually getting, let me put this on silent, do not disturb. They're not actually getting our announcements. So it looks like I'm going to have to do them more frequently. So I do apologise about that. It's something to do with YouTube. It's got nothing to do with me. So I do apologise about that. So BlaXit Sunday live stream is now live. Thank you so much. Join us, have your say. So welcome, welcome. How are you doing? How's your week been? How have you been, BlaXit family? How have you been? That's what I want to know is how have you been? How's your week been for you? You know, this is a lovely, lovely weekend here in the Gambia. And there's been some remarkable things happening here. I'm going to talk about one of them with you. But if you are new to the channel, I'm Nyancho Kajabi, aka Juliet. I am your host. I'm also the founder and also the CEO of BlaXit. So I am the founder and the host of BlaXit. So, you know, let's promote my friend's book and put this out there so everybody can join us. Welcome, welcome, welcome. There's been some great news. Let's talk about our own insider news first. Today we was going to be joined by a guest. If you're new to the channel and you don't know what the channel is about, BlaXit is all about your repatriation, relocation, back to your mother nation, or back to your father nation, but back to the cradle of a civilization, and that is Africa. And I repatriated back to Africa several years ago. I've been traveling and visiting Africa for over 32 years and decided to come and make Africa my home, and I live in West Africa and I absolutely love it. And so as such I became a repatriationist and have been helping many people to come back to Africa to live, to enjoy their lives and to be free of Western domination, colonization, racism, discrimination, and of course poverty. Because no one wants to associate poverty with the West. But of course, we can live there and we can be poor. But we can come to Africa where it's pay as you go and you can be free of debt. Okay? So anyway, welcome to BlaXit. Like I said, BlaXit is my philosophy, my own personal philosophy, that the only way to eradicate racism is to leave it behind and come and live with your own kind. That has been my philosophy and it has been proven true and it has been great for me. I've been living here consistently, without going back to England at all, for the last 7 years. And I haven't been back because I didn't want to go back. No, didn't want to. So if you are new, welcome to BlaXit. BlaXit has been around for a long time. However, our presence online was primarily, if you like, we're given a huge catapult because of Woda Maya. If you follow Woda Maya is a prolific vlogger and who comes from Ghana. And he came to Gambia and he interviewed me here. And he said to me, you know, I need to have more of a pronounced presence online. And so because of that, this is how BlaXit became more well known. So anyway, I would like to firstly thank one of our, and congratulate, let me also say, one of the people that was very important, and I would say had a really, I think the word I'm looking for is he helped with the growth and development of BlaXit in the early stages. And he also helped with the formulation in many ways. And that was one of our first professional, let's say, videographers and editors. And that was McConnell Sankofa. He was actually researching for a book here and was doing his own content. But let me say hello to Fathia Idris. Hello, hello, hello. How are you, my darling? How is life? I miss you. I hope to see you soon. And also, Court 27 day flow, something like that. Your locks are gorgeous. Oh. Mwah. Kisses to you, yeah? Thank you so much. And I hope you're having a wonderful weekend to you both. And I want to thank you for joining us today. So I am delighted that McConnell Sankova, who I mentioned to you before, he had won the Nigerian Magazine Award, has now also received an award for his contribution to the literary industry. As you know, I am also in one of his books, which is in my bookcase over there. I wish I could run and get it and show you, from the Literary Inspiration Trailblazers organization. So he's the author of the books, The Rise of Rastafari. And if he was on today, we would have spoken about St. Kitts and Nevis's decision to formally recognize Rastafari as a faith. But obviously he's not on today, so we're unable to do that. Also, life in Gambia. I have got a very good news piece about Gambia, which I will be sharing with you in a minute. There's a little piece of wisdom that I grabbed from someone here, as Gambia has now got his own, let me not say, I'll say in a minute, let me finish this piece, because you know me, I like to get excited and jump from story to story. So he also did the book, The Life in Gambia, and I actually contributed to that book. I'm actually featured in that book. So go to Amazon and get that book, yeah? And also Experiences of Living Across Africa. He's also published that book as well, and how to market and sell your book. He's also the founder and host of the International Book Show, which was formerly the Black Book Show. Since launching in 2020, the platform has featured over 500 authors across video shows, webinars, podcasts, and radio shows, also on Galaxy FOE and Luton Urban Radio Show. I used to contribute regularly to Galaxy. I used to always call in to the shows there. So greetings, Amadou. How are you? Yeah, I'm grateful that you're here today. And if you'd like me to mention you, please just make yourself known in the comments. Anything you want me to promote, make yourself known in the comments and I will do so. In addition to this, he has supported and coached authors throughout their book journeys, helping writers to reframe their books as powerful tools that open doors and create opportunities. So well done. That's our good news BlaXit story for one of our own personal people from, and if you've forgotten what he looked like, there he is there. That's McConnell right there, okay? If you've forgotten what he looks like. So congratulations to McConnell, okay? Now, I want to just share something with you that happened in the Gambia quickly. You know, I did forget to share a good news story the other day, so I will not forget today. People said, you spoke about everywhere else except Gambia. So, yeah, so I will talk to you about Gambia. So, Gambia has done something quite remarkable. Gambia is one of the few countries in Africa which now trains their own military. That's right, it's not any other country training their military. They have now established their own military training, which is great, because it's about at time Africa had its own, defense. Last week we were talking about Ghana and how Ghana were training American soldiers, and I told you over 10,000 soldiers, more soldiers that are in Iran. They actually trained last year, November, and I was very unhappy about that initiative and the fact that we should be training our enemies. And do I see the rest of our enemies? Yes, of course I do. Of course I do. How can I expect an ex-country that colonized Africa, took us and enslaved us, wouldn't even vote and said no with regards to admitting the fact that slavery was a gross crime against humanity? It was a gravest crime against humanity. And why should we be training our enemies? I say no. Look at what they're doing all over the world and have been doing all over the world. Why should Africa be training them? I say no. So the fact that Gambia is saying, I will train our own, we have done our own, and they had their own graduation ceremony, which was held, which was hosted, let's say, the main host of the military announcement, which is amazing, and also the first cohort of Gambian trained military was hosted by Lieutenant General Mamat, O.A. Cham. So I hope I'm saying it right. Lieutenant General Mamat O.A. Cham, and he is the Chief of Defence Staff, CDS, and he told the gathering some priceless words, and I want to share them with you because I found them really touching to my heart. So Amadou, be proud today. Fatou Bidris, be proud today. And Court 272, be proud today. Leadership, he said, in the military this is from the Point newspaper, if you wanted to know where I got my source from, just in case you think I'm making it up. Okay, so leadership in the military is not given. It is built over time. I think that we should all adhere to this, and I think this is important, Guy, for all of our lives, because we should now be forming our own militancy. I believe that we need to be forming our own militancy with what is going on in the world. Africa, you need to unite. Look at what's happening in Iran. Look at what happened in Venezuela. We know that certain rulers, like the ruler of America, Donald Duck, is going nuts. The man is insane. And all of this to cover what you did in the Epstein, or EpiPen as they call it, files. I mean, come on now. Anyway, but he said leadership, there I am, jumping story to story again, but I had to say it, right? And this is why it's important for us to have our own military, to have our own defenses, and to be on guard and ready. Okay, so leadership in the military is not given. It is built over time through consistent actions, sound decisions, and a genuine concern for those under your command. This means that to be a good officer, you must first hold yourself to a higher standard, knowing that your behavior will always set the tone for your unit. You must always be disciplined in your actions and consistent in your decisions, because discipline is not only about following orders, but about maintaining self-control and doing what is right, even when it's difficult, he said. In the same way, courage will be required of you, not only in moments of danger, but also in everyday leadership, from making difficult decisions to standing by what is right and taking responsibility for your actions. Now, I think that is exactly what we need, okay? That is exactly what we need. And I want to ask you something, okay? Now, there has been some reparations going on this week, and you when I first heard about it, I made the mistake, right? I jumped to conclusions. It's a good thing I do research, because upon discovering the research, I found out where the colonialists actually stole and left these wonderful things from. But I am going to talk to you about it. So there has been some reparations of some artifacts. But the thing is that I want to discuss with you about the strategy of reparations for us, our restitution and our repatriation back to Africa, which should be a part of the reparations that we have. As you know, there has been this ongoing ceasefire in the West, and as you know, there has also been numerous things happening around the world that we probably will touch on today. But I do want to talk about some good news stories. But I want to ask you in the question, in the comment section, if you could receive £250,000, euros or dollars, yeah, depending on where you are, yeah, whatever currency you're currently in, it could be in Brazil, you could be wherever in the diaspora, let's just say. If you could receive £250,000 as a repatriation package, would you leave wherever you are in the diaspora and return to a peaceful country in Africa? That is the question of the day. Can you please answer me? Would you do it? Would you do it? Let me know in the comment section. If you could receive £250,000, dollars, euros, I don't know, whatever the currency is, wherever you are in the diaspora, as a repatriation package, would you leave wherever you are in the diaspora and return to a peaceful country in Africa? Would you do it? I would just like to know. Okay, I'm not asking you to surrender your passport or anything like that. I'm just saying, if you was to receive this amount of money, would you do it? Would you leave? Okay, I mean, obviously I left and I came to Africa without receiving, you know, any kind of repatriation from them. I left because I knew it wasn't the right place for me to be. So someone said possibly. What seasons to change? What makes it possibly and not yes and not no? What is your possibly? Explain. I hear the word possibly. Explain to me exactly what you mean by just possibly, because I just like to know what would hold you back and what would push you forwards. Yeah. Okay. So it's if you like, it's never been before. So it's uncharted territory. It's uncharted territory to you. Have you been to the Caribbean before? Have you been out of the country that you live in before? Let's find out that. Have you ever been to any other country outside of the country that you live in before? No, only because I'm too old. Ah, okay. Age is nothing but a number. I don't know how young you are. Let's just say that much. I don't know how young you are. But let's just say, yeah, I understand where you're coming from. You've been to Europe twice. Okay. So if you've been to Europe and you've not been, worried about anything happening to you there, you certainly will feel safer and you will feel much nicer, especially here in the Gambia. You will enjoy your stay here. Okay. Now, I do want to talk about certain things that have been happening in the news. I think Nancy Bowen, Ashlee Jenae, or Ashlee Robinson, and also Justin Fairfax and I think her name is Serene, I think, and his wife's name is. May they all rest in peace. May they all rest in peace. Now, the headlining stories have been about Ashlee Jenae, who was very much like me, an influencer. She had about 100,000 followers on, I think, on YouTube or Instagram. I can't remember which one. But anyway, she was from America and from New Jersey, I believe. Am I right? If I'm right, if I'm not right, correct me. Because I haven't actually done my own personal research. I've just seen what's been said online. So it's secondhand information. I confess. Okay. I confess to this. And, beautiful sister. And, apparently, I just want to put a disclaimer in. I don't agree with her opinions on black men. Let me just say that now. I love my black kings, okay? I love my African kings. I love my emperors. Yeah, I love my princes. I love my black men. So don't think that I'm standing or agreeing with her stance on how she felt about black men. I disagree. Yeah, I love my black men, all my black men out there, all my African men out there. I just want to tell you that I appreciate you and I love you. And, you know, we need to, you know, improve, if you like, you know, the reputation of black men globally. Okay, we need to do this. Now, yes, there has been some incidents with black men. So let me just clarify. You know, and this white man who she was with, because she said that she didn't want to be with a black man. So she went for a white man. I'm talking about Ashlee Jenae, who was a vlogger. They called her a vixen, something, I don't know, some YouTube vixen. Hello, greetings from the Gambia. Who's that? Wendy. Hey, Wendy, you're here. You know what we do? Yeah. I think it's back to Repatriation again. So, yeah, where are you from? I was actually born in London. I was born in East London, okay, in the UK. So, okay, let's try that. No, I'm not going to try that. It's after a Q&A, something you're nostalgic for. Nothing really. Okay, I've got the question. What am I nostalgic for? From the UK? Outside of family, what did I like? Sometimes fish and chips. But I'm not really nostalgic for it because you can get really good fish and chips out here. So I'm not really nostalgic for that. Yeah, Cocoa Ocean is well overdue. Okay, certainly is. Okay, so let's do lunch. Okay. So, yeah, I was saying, so Wendy, would you take the $250,000? Would you take it? Let me know, okay? Let me know in the comment section. Would you take $250,000 to leave where you're currently living and come to Africa to live? Okay, so I would say if you travel to Europe, it's just as safe coming to Africa. Don't ever let people give you any kind of misconception. In fact, I would say the welcome is 100% nicer and the people are 100% nicer. That's an understatement, probably 1,000,000% nicer when you come to Africa. So if you are having any kind of trepidation about it, don't do that. I live here on a permanent basis and I absolutely love it, okay? I've got absolutely no regrets whatsoever. It is a beautiful, beautiful place to live, beautiful environment with beautiful people. And once you've built your house and got your land, and do remember, we do still have a few repatriation plots, so do not miss out. And repatriation plots are always under the price that you would buy on the market for the land. Why? Because it's repatriation plots, and we're trying to make it easy for you to make that transition. Juliet's spitting. That transition back to the motherland. So get in contact with us, +220-240-5273. Someone's talking about me because my nose is itching. I hope it's good stuff. Okay, so yeah, you're Senegalese, but I've been in Italy. Okay, so you're Senegalese, you've been in Italy. If you was to get €250,000, would you come back to live in Senegal? Would you come back to live in Senegal? Wendy Green says yes. Okay. Amadou, let me know. Okay, Amadou, let me know if that's what you would do. So that's one of the top questions that I want to ask, and this is coming out, of course, from the repatriation announcement that was made in the UN. As you know, part of it was a financial package, but it did not stipulate the amount. Okay, it did not stipulate the amount that you would receive, or you know what kind of package. What kind of package would be available to you. So I'm just saying, trying to see what would people accept and what people wouldn't accept. Would you accept less? Would you accept more? Okay. So do let me know. But there has been some positive news across Africa this week, let me tell you. Let me tell you that there has been a significant return of cultural heritage. That's right, the repatriation of artifacts. If you remember, I complained, I said, you know, we should focus on the repatriation of people, but Zimbabwe is celebrating this week because they had the return of their stone birds. Yeah, so the birds have returned, and guess where from? Guess where the colonialists were? Okay, Welcome to you. Welcome to you. Welcome to you. Who's that? Sam? Okay, Safato 3363. Welcome to you. Greetings. Yeah. Nangadef. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, so they had the return of their artifacts. So reparations have started. Now, if you'd have expected this to have come from a European nation, you will be mistaken. Although it was stolen by colonizers from Zimbabwe, it was stolen and brought to where? Do you know? It was South Africa. Ah, yes, I thought it was a European country too. Okay, so the Zimbabwe stone birds, it's part of the reparations package. The reparations package was the return of historical and cultural artifacts. Now, I would like to know how many European countries, America or whoever, have they sent back any artifacts? Because this was from South Africa. Okay, so the cultural heritage, Zimbabwe stone birds return. All 8 of Zimbabwe's iconic soapstone birds, which were taken by colonialists, are finally back home as of April the 18th. Zimbabwe's president, Emerson, I cannot say his name properly, so do forgive me, Mnangagwa. Let me try again. Mnangagwa. Yeah, it has a lot of N's in it, and it's a tongue twister for me. Okay, so no, I do apologize. Says that the return of Zimbabwe's birds from South Africa after a century marks the restoration of a national icon, symbolizing sovereignty ahead of the 46th anniversary commemorations. South Africa's Gator Mackenzie personally handed over the sculpture, a treasured symbol linked to Great Zimbabwe and national identity. Now, so when Botha and W.D. Botha, all those racists, during, obviously, before apartheid, they're taking these birds away from Zimbabwe, because what they did was they took a lot of our iconic artifacts very specific to our countries, which meant a lot to us, in order to break our sovereignty, to break our confidence, and to break our unity. So they took very important things. So I am glad they're coming back to Africa, but they need to come back from Europe. They need to come out of the museums of Europe. And I have got another interesting piece about what is going on in some of the museums of Africa that you'll be very happy to hear about. And if you're one of those people that you don't know much about Africa, yes, Africa has wonderful museums, Africa has wonderful facilities, and Africa has very much almost very similar facilities to what you have in the West. Okay, in especially some parts of Africa, which is some countries in Africa are very, very developed, and you wouldn't even know the difference of being in the West or being in Africa. And some parts, I mean, for me, I like rural life. I like the traditional African village. That is what suits me. But of course, with my mod cons. So that was a great news for Zimbabwe, and I am so glad that although it was taken up by the white man, it was returned by the black man. Power to the people. Yeah? Power to the people. Okay? Now, there's also some more good news. Oh my gosh, I'm full of good news this week, which is great. And if you're not happy to hear good news from the continent, oh wow. These are some of the good reasons for you to come back to Africa and to come and live in Africa and to repatriate to Africa. Okay? Now, listen, I had some concerns. I am going to just move on to something else now. I had some concerns, okay, about certain films that were being made and the impression and so on that they were having on our minds and so on and so forth. I'm going to go back a little bit to talk about Ashlee Jenae or Robinson, who was the influencer, as I mentioned to you before. I didn't really want to start on negative news, so I wanted to start on positive news first, but I want to talk about Ashlee Jenae and this white man called Joe, who she got with. Now, to me, she was under the impression, all right, falsely under the impression that if she got with a white man, she thought she would have a better life, a better relationship, that she would have commitment. Now, let me tell you something. Let me remind everybody, okay? There are many black couples out there that have commitment, many black couples out there that are having a good and happy life, and people that are in stable relationships, okay? So when, black women want to diss, black men, I do take umbrage to it, because obviously I have black sons. Okay, and I am a black mother who has raised those black sons to respect and love black women, and to be balanced, and to be respectful, and to be committed, and to be loyal, and to be honest, to be consistent, to be reliable, to be supportive, to be faithful. And so, I don't like it when people go and poo-poo on our black men. I am not having it. Or our sisters, I'm not having it. Okay, so they've been lynching us in America for years, hanging us in trees, hanging us in buildings, hanging us in our doorways, burning crosses outside of our houses. This is nothing new. She was lynched. Ashlee, I believe, in my opinion, that was a lynching. Tell me if you don't think that it was a lynching. Okay? Now, what I'm trying to say to you is that the West is doing something to our minds. That's why I want us to come out and get into a more peaceful environment. The West is doing something in our minds. Because two Democrats, right? The lady, Nancy Bowen from Springs, in Florida, I've forgotten, Coral Springs in Florida, and also Justin Fairfax, and his wife, right? They both, Justin Fairfax shot his black wife. I think she's mixed race, actually. But anyway, right? I think she might be mixed race. I'm not sure. I have to do more research on her identity. But he shot her, okay? He shot his wife, and then turned around, and then he shot himself and killed himself. Nancy Bowen's husband also shot up his wife. Something is happening in the West. There's some kind of mind control, some kind of program, or narcissism, or whatever it is driving them mad, okay, to pick up arms and kill the person that they once loved, the mother of their children. Something is wrong. Listen, I've been in a situation before, and I know what it is to go through a nasty divorce. I know what it is to go through a nasty separation, and I do understand that when you separate and one doesn't want to separate, it can become very nasty, it can become very destructive. But do we have to pick up arms and take the other person's life? No, we don't. Don't get me wrong, I can understand it, because I was in a situation myself, when I was going through my own situation, when I ran to my lawyer and said, like, this has been said to me, and I'm scared. You understand? Because at the end of the day, someone, I don't have to talk about my own situation, but I was in that situation where I was also scared for my life, because I received threats. So I do know what it is, and I do know that it's a realistic thing. You understand? I do, but I wasn't scared in the fact that I know that right now, I'm still living my life. I'm still doing what I'm doing, irrespective. And I know many people can say words, but not follow them with actions. You understand? Who's that? Hey, Liliani Resurrection 714. I do know that many people can say words in the heat of the moment and not mean it, or they can mean it, and it can be dangerous for you. For me, I went straight to my lawyer when I was put in that situation, and I heard certain threats and things like that. I went straight to my lawyer. Why? Because I didn't want to take the chance that it was just words, so I had to protect myself, right? And I would say to any woman in that position, protect yourself, because apparently Ashlee and this man, right, this white man, this devil, this demon, right, had been arguing for how many days? The man proposed to her. They went to Africa. And I don't like the way that people are giving Africa a bad name as well. I don't like it. The way that they're dissing Zanzibar, I don't like it. Because at the end of the day, crime happens everywhere in the world. You understand? Crime happens everywhere in the world. Yeah? Okay. Fairfax's wife was white. I thought she was mixed race. court too, just double check that she was white, because I'm sure somewhere I read that she was mixed race, okay? She might be passing as white, but I think she mixed race, okay? So just double check, because I think that's where I saw that. If you look into her genealogy, if you look into her parents, I think she was mixed race, so just double check. But anyway, regardless of what her race was, he shot her to death, okay? But Nancy Bowen was black, okay? And she was visibly black, you understand? And she was also shot to death. But what I'm trying to say is that, you know, we are doing exactly what they want us to do, which is take each other out. Wendy Green says she's not white. No, she's not. I think she's mixed race. But, you know, in America, it's like one drop of black blood and it means you're not white. I don't know where they come up with that philosophy from. But anyway, you're mixed race, right? If you're half and half, you're mixed race. So anyway, basically, the situation that has been occurring is that we are doing exactly what they want us to do, which is taking each other out. Nancy is black. Nancy Bowen was black. She was, you know, a rising star, and she was black, and she was taken out. You understand? She was in a long-term relationship and taken out by her husband. And this seems to be happening a lot. Okay, apparently 70%, according to statistics, yeah, of all women killed, right, in America, 70% of those because of their lovers, their partners, or people that they were married to. You know, something is going desperately wrong. That's desperately wrong in our ability to have critical thinking, in our ability to have emotional balance, in our ability to have, you know, the ability to reason and have understanding. I do understand that when you're losing someone that you love, right? Sometimes it's jealousy, sometimes it's envy, sometimes it's like mental health issues, sometimes it's just outright rage and control, aggression and anger, you know, uncontrolled anger. I get it, and you know, when you go to extreme in any of those emotions, you know, and we all have them, but going to the extreme is what makes it unhealthy. What makes it extremely unhealthy. Now, this black woman, Jenae, right? Ashlee Jenae, I don't believe that she should have gone out and dissed black men. Don't get me wrong. I don't agree with what she done. I see a lot of these, you know, so-called black celebrities, black superstars, they're all, you know, saying that I'm going for, you know, a white man because a white man's better than a black man. Well, you know what? Here's a reality check for you. Here's a reality check for you. You understand? There is no perfection. It's what we work on, okay? To come to an understanding, to come to a reasoning. That is what it is, okay? Some of us are in relationships where it's not compatible, where we're not compatible. You know, he was also having a man out there. So I think it was something to do around, and it could have been, I'm saying allegedly, okay? Allegedly. Because I saw one report where allegedly, you know, 10 people have been arrested, and allegedly one of the men that was another white man who allegedly was his partner. So he was allegedly maybe a bisexual. Yeah, and allegedly wanted her to get into certain things, allegedly with other women. And then, you know, she was obviously vexed and was saying no. Because allegedly she didn't understand who she was with and didn't understand. But people were warning her, apparently, to tell her that this man was a freak underneath her posts. When she was putting out social media posts, some people apparently had written to her to warn her. Yeah, and someone even said, you know, why are you with the slave owner? You know, and that's how I feel. That's how I feel. You know, I spoke about, you know, African leaders and should they be marrying outside of their race, particularly the white race. And you know, my stance on that is no. You know, my stance on that is no. Okay, what he did, yeah, is wickedness, pure evilness. Because I don't think she killed herself. I think she was lynched. This is my opinion. Excuse me. Sorry. I believe that she was lynched. I think she's a sacrifice. And I think there are many sacrifices going on because they're into their devilment and their satanic things. You don't understand. They do things. They do things. They do heinous things. You know, under the guise, if you've been listening to the Epstein files and what has been discovered, you realize they're into pure wickedness. Eating babies, doing all kinds of madness, sacrificing for, you know, for what they think is, you know, power and connecting with entities and all these different things. This is what they're doing, and we don't need to follow them into that. Yeah? Talking of that, the Pope was in Africa for an 11-day tour. What the Ross is he doing here? Pop, 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 pop. That's what I call them, yeah? If you know what they take poppers for, you understand what I'm saying. Okay? They've got their own problems in the Vatican. He needs to go and stay there. Was he coming for peace and reconciliation? What, to come and keep propagating your Catholicism across Africa? Because why? The rise of African spirituality, us realizing that we do have our own spirituality. We do have our own spirituality, which predates any Catholicism, any other modern day man-made religion. We do have our own spirituality, and we always have. We always have. And there's evidence for it all over the world. There's evidence for it, especially you go to Egypt, there's evidence for it. It's not like something that's pie in the sky. So with people, you know, doing more research, getting more knowledge, understanding, coming to find peace, that's what they do. And then, you know, all of a sudden, once the Pope arrives, you know, all of a sudden there's ceasefire. Like, what's going on? But my opinion on the Jenae thing is definitely that I think that, you know, it was definitely, to me, you know, they used to hang us in trees. And when I saw the hanging, that's what it reminded me of. I don't know what you think. What your opinion is on it, but I would like to say to all the sisters out there, okay, just be mindful of thinking that, okay, I'm going to date outside my race because I think I'm going to have a better experience, because you might just end up dead like Ashlee Jenae or Ashley Robinson. Okay, because you could be marrying a psychopath. You could be dating a madman. You could be dating a rapist. You could, you know, be dating a murderer, a killer. And you don't know because you're not doing checks and balances, because you're looking at the white savior syndrome. You understand? Ahmed Bushi, how are you? Okay. So it could be, you know, it could be the white savior syndrome. I just don't get it. Why would you think that dating outside your race, you're going to find better than inside your race? How does that make sense? That means that you think you know all the men in your race? No, you don't. But isn't it safer? Yeah, so, and Wendy said, black people don't usually choose that method to self-unalive. No, and it doesn't even make any sense. It doesn't even seem physically possible either. You know, I don't think so. To me, it sounds like a lynching. How many times have you seen black people lynched? Come on, tell me, how many lynchings have there been in America? Who can tell me? You can tell me how many black lynchings, yeah, have there been in America? Both of men and women. You can tell me, come on. Give me an answer in the comment section, please. Okay, so between 1877, just to show you that there's a record of this behavior. So between 1877 and 1850, there's been over 4,000 to 6,500 African Americans which were victims of racial terror lynching in the US. Did you hear me? They couldn't even give you a finite number. They said between 1877 and 1950. So I'm not even talking about the modern day ones, okay? There was 4,000 to 6,500 African Africans who were born in America were victims of racial terror and lynching in the US, particularly in the South. The NAACP recorded 3,446 black victims between 1882 and 1968, though many incidents were unreported. The Equal Justice Initiative reported and documented nearly 2,000 additional previously unreported lynchings from 1865 to 1876. If I'm talking too quickly, let me know, okay? "82% of lynchings occurred in the South. Mississippi, Georgia, and Texas had the highest recorded numbers. These acts were used as racial terror to enforce white supremacy and intimidate black people following the Civil War. Unreported, it's been underreported, you know, and historians believe that these figures are underreported as many lynchings were not covered by mainstream newspapers, which was the main basis of the original studies. Now, was this, can I have some thumbs up, please? Would you mind giving me some thumbs up, please? Do you think that Ashlee Jenae, right, or Ashley Robinson, the influencer who was killed in Zanzibar while she was there on holiday for her 31st birthday, where she also got engaged to her white supremacist, sorry, did I say supremacist? Oh, sorry, alleged supremacist partner, or fiance, what have you. Do you believe that that was a lynching given the history of lynching in America? Yeah. So wonders, yeah, McCullough, how are you, Nyancho? Thank you. Oh, stay blessed. You are giving very important information, definitely. Thank you. Yeah. So do you think that she was lynched? Because to me, it sounds like a lynching. That's what a lynching is. A lynching is when they hang you by your neck. I don't know if you have seen what a lynching looks like. Let me try and show you. Images of lynchings, okay? Because there's been so many of them. Let's show you here. Hang on. There you go. Yeah, that's lynching, where they hang you. You can see? I don't know if you can see. You can see this person in the tree there. Yeah? Oops, sorry. Let's have a look. Okay, US report studies, I don't know if you can see that. US report studies, nearly 2,000 lynching, right, in the 60s, and that is it. That's a lynching, okay? That is when they hang us by our necks. They used to do it in the public. They used to do it at picnics. They used to do it all the time, and they used to watch, look, it's not something new to them. You see the man there? African born in America, hanging in a tree, okay? This is lynchings, and they used to do them and watch and enjoy, okay, as a sport. They even used to lynch at different events, okay, it's a sad thing. It's a sad thing to think about what we have been through as a people, and that in 2026 that she would have been getting lynched, okay, and it could have been, I don't know, the discovery of the fact that her fiance was a bisexual, trisexual, who was doing freak offs in Zanzibar, and that he was a frequent traveller there. It could have been a whole rash of recent lynchings, all immediately dismissed as self-unalivement. Exactly, but now that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to say it's suicide, whatever, right? And it's just not good enough. It's just not good enough. So there needs to be more research into this. But if you ask me, you know, given the fact that he was told to move, the argument was so severe that he was told to move from the room that she was with to 10 rooms down. What does that say to you? It says that the man's an aggressive man. It says to you that the man had a severe temper. It says to you that, you know, that there must have been something so severe about their argument that they got separated. Imagine getting engaged and then getting separated upon, you know, your engagement and your celebration of your birthday. It doesn't make any sense. But you know what? That's what part of what narcissists do. Narcissists don't like to really celebrate and enjoy. They're kind of happiness haters. And so they'll give you joy with one hand and then take it away with another hand, or they'll completely ignore your birthday, or they'll act as though you're unimportant and that you don't exist, or they'll go and be with another person on your birthday. There's something sick about, you know, some of the narcissism that is going on in today's society. But that is it. You know, there's such a history of it that, you know, we cannot deny that these things happen to us. We cannot deny that they did these things to us. Okay, we just cannot deny it. We can't deny all of the wickedness that they did to us. Okay, we cannot deny it. Right? It's just pure wickedness. Pure wickedness. All different types of lynchings. Look what they've done. All the same to us. Okay? And not only men, women too. Okay? Women too. I even have a picture of a woman being lynched here on my desk. You know, in this book here. I'll show you. Hang on. You know, this is something that they've done to us historically, and can you see? Now, apparently, Ashlee Jenae, she was alive when she was found. She was alive when she was found, but she was choking and gasping for air, and her extremities apparently were cold. So they tried to put, you know, a heat warmer on her, but you know, unfortunately, she lost her life the next day. Now, for me, I don't know how you feel about it, but I do feel that her family should try and go out to Zanzibar and to make sure that this man faces justice. Okay, this man, you know, that they have justice for their daughter. Do I agree with the fact that she should have gone out and slept with a white man and felt that that white man should be seen as some savior and some God? No, I don't. No, I don't. Because as much as she dissed the black man that she was with before, she was alive. She had her life. You know, and now she doesn't. She doesn't. But there is a problem. There is a problem of you know, too much unaliving going on in America. And like I said, I preserve my peace. I want my peace. But part of that is because of what is being also put out in the media. And I'm going to talk about that because there's a certain part of Nigeria, I'm not sure if you're aware of, let's call it, they call it Kannywood. And Kano is in the northern part of Nigeria, and they started to censor films and the content that was going out on films because they felt that it was, you know, polluting the minds of the next generation and people around them. And maybe this is true because when you look at what is going on, there is a lot of violence in Hollywood and so on. So, you know, it's a type of films that were being made that were concerning me because I was seeing a lot of stuff in Hollywood, always showing men cheating on women, you know, women always cheating on men, you know, showing spirituality in a negative way, showing African culture in a negative way. So I was kind of happy to see the censorship and control because they were also taking on Western norms and showing sexual deviancy, same-sex stuff. And so I wasn't happy seeing that coming from Africa. I really wasn't, okay? Okay, so let's read some of your comments. Hello, beautiful. Hello, Mahogany Consulting. Thank you so much for the compliment. 2 young black men were found hung in Georgia recently. Yeah, give me their names, please. I do often follow that. Yeah, because Count also said that a whole rash of recent lynchings are all immediately dismissed as unalivement. So 2 young men were also found in Georgia. And then you said, if you're correct, yeah, about the divest movement. White men will treat me better is a calculated strategy rolled out to gullible social media who naively buy into this absurdity. Yeah, it is an absurdity, absolutely. How can your slave... How can the race that has committed the most, heinous crimes against humanity on your ancestors who have never paid reparations, never made amends, okay, who continuously still kill us, whether it's Sandra Bland on the side of the road, right? Whether it's, Trayvon Martin, or Mark Brown, or George Floyd, or whoever, they do make public displays of these lynchings. And it's almost like it's sacrifices to keep on the psychological, it's like it's psychological weaponization of our psyche to make sure that we're kept in fear of them. But those days are over. We're not scared of you anymore. Okay? On the pictures, they often smile near the body of a lynched person. They do. Guarda 9 is true. They do. Can I have some more thumbs up, please? It really helps me with the algorithms. And please subscribe to the channel. Please subscribe to the channel. As you know, there are other ways to target us. And, one of them is online and our online presence. And it's happening. It's real. You understand? Especially after I did the video of what happened to those young boys who got locked in the dormitory. I was, demonetized and penalized for that. And I said the price we pay for freedom. If you haven't seen it, go back and see it. Got over 480,000 views, and then I was penalized. Okay. And continue to be. So please help me, okay? Help me out on this channel by please subscribing and please liking, giving me thumbs up if you can, and by watching. I would really appreciate it. Count 27 days to phone. Yeah, it says so many of these young women are unalienable in the most horrific fashion. I've seen it. I've seen this trend. And I've seen, she's not the first person to be hanged. There was another young woman that was hanged as well. And she survived to tell the tale. There was another young woman and in the south, and she was hanged. Chose to also decide that she wanted to go and be used and abused and be, a little hussy for these white men. And I'm sorry, I said it. And when I see these high-profile black women that could go and get high-profile black men and they end up with these white men, I'm disgusted. I told you I saw a post the other day about a tennis player. You know who I'm talking about why she chose this white man. And all the reasons she chose this white man sounded like she was just deeply insecure, because what she was getting from this white man, she should expect naturally from any man. If a man is disrespecting you, he's not a man. If a man is ghosting you, he's not a man. If a man is deserting you, he's not a man. If a man is ignoring you, he's not a man. If a man cannot have a conversation with you rationally, he's not a man. If a man is beating on you, he is not a man. Yeah, he is a little insecure, immature, stupid little boy that needs to grow up and man up. If a man is lying and cheating on you, he is not a man. Sometimes he's psychologically homosexual and he hates women. Yeah, sometimes they're psychotic because they're not well in their heads. Some of these men didn't even know how to treat a woman properly because they never saw their mum being treated properly. They saw their dads beating on their mum, disrespecting their mum, being nasty to their mum. So they think that that's what, the relationship is. They don't, learn to go out of that and break that cycle. break that generational curse. And that's what we need to do. We need to stop hurting each other. This is so important. Because I'm telling you, if you're with a man who's disrespecting you, he's not a man. If you're with a man who is jealous of you, he is not a man. If you are with a man who is envious of you, he is not a man. If you are with a man who is dishonest to you continuously, he is not a man. He is a boy. And leave the boy alone to go and grow up. If you are with a man who has wandering eyes, he is not a man. He's got no respect for you. If you are with a man who's always wanting to go and put you, triangulate you, or bring third parties into your relationship, he's not a man. If you've got a man who cannot even stand up for you, right, and defend you, he is not a man. If you've got a man who cannot protect you, he is not a man. If you've got a man who cannot provide for you, he is not a man. Put him down. Because all of these things may frustrate him, and he may take it out on you, and he may take your life. Okay? Because there was a story of another woman who was also unalived, and it was because she found out that her man was gay. When she found out that he was gay, he killed her. That was in America also. Okay, so then they're not real men. They haven't developed. They have to go and heal. They are unhealed men who need to grow, and develop. Men who sulk for days, they're not men, they're boys. They're unable to communicate. Men who give you the silent treatment, they're not men, they're boys, because they haven't learned to communicate. Men who want to sulk, right, for over rubbish, they are insecure, they are boys, they get jealous over the stupidest little thing. They are little boys. They are not men. And they're going after these little boys, these little white boys. They're not men. They're psychopathic killers. And many of them are bisexual and sexual deviants. Some of them are even pedophiles. So that's what I'm saying to you, women. Be mindful now. When you're looking for a man, look out for the red flags. Look out for the red flag. Red flag, red flag. Do you understand? You see a certain move you don't like, red flag it. If that man cannot control himself and keep his willy in his keep his peen in his pants, yeah? Don't go for him. That man is a nasty man. He will bring you STDs, STIs, all kinds of spiritual diseases and other women and problems in your life. He will bring you children that he's born with other women that he's not even telling you. He will have relationships that he's in and he's not even telling you. He's lying. He's hiding relationships while he's in a fully fledged relationship. While he's in a relationship with you, he's lying. He'll have children that he's raising and he's not even telling you. So listen, just be careful of these kinds of men, and they will kill you to keep their secrets. So please be careful. Go with honest men. Go with upstanding men. Go with a divine man, not these karmic, nasty men that are excuses for men. They are little boys. And men, go out with women. Don't go out with these women that want to triangulate you. Don't go out with these women that have got no respect for you. Don't go out with these women that are going to cheat on you. Do not go out with these women that are going to disrespect you in public. Do not go out with these women that are just going to use you for money. Do not go out with these women that are going to be escorts at the night while they're in your bed, escorts during the day, and come and pretend to be wifey at night. Okay? Do not go out with these women, right, that cannot do anything to enhance your life. And women, do not go out with these men that cannot do nothing to enhance your life. Leave them where they are. I once saw this thing where this man was giving this woman a ring, right? She'd been with him for 10 years and he wants to give her a ring in a car. And then he wondered why she refused the ring. Why did she refuse the ring? She refused the ring because the man didn't even have the decency to do a proper proposal, to do a dinner, to get some roses, to organize it and to show her her worth. He just bought her the ring thinking they could fling it on her finger and that would be good enough. And she said no. And he didn't understand it. And she broke up with him then and there. Why? Because she had tolerated enough. And this is what we have to do. We have to learn to respect each other. This is very, very important. Yes, I'm a divorcee. Yes, I haven't had, the most perfect relationships in the world. But you know what I did? I learned. And I learned to understand the mistakes that I made. And I also learned to heal. And I learned not to settle. And I learned to keep my standards high. And I learned to set boundaries. And it's very important that we learn to have our boundaries. One, to protect ourselves and to protect our heart. Because I don't want to hear about any more of our black women dying, okay? Black women being found floating in the river in England. You know, this is too much of us are dying. And black men, I want you to now stand up to protect us. Be the soldiers, be the militancy that I spoke about, be the discipline, yeah? Be the righteous man, be the forgiving man, be the loving man, be the sympathetic man. If a man can't show you emotion and affection, get away from him, he's got a problem, okay? I'm telling you the truth, women. If a man cannot show you affection, emotion, and cannot appreciate you, he's probably jealous of you. Okay, so please step away from him. If that man cannot be, you know, show open displays of affection, he has a problem, okay? Or he's probably seeing somebody else. If this man always keeps his phone upside down or on silent, he's got someone else, okay? Or he's playing games with you. If you have a man that's playing games with you, he's not a man, he's a boy. He's a little boy. Okay, and some of them, they have got very small members, you understand? And because of that, they go out and they try and compensate by cheating, by lying, by deceiving, right? And by sleeping around with different women, right? And they have no recourse. They will sleep with them unprotected and come and bring back AIDS. So be careful. Okay, I'm just warning everybody, be careful. And women too. Some of them women, you think they're being loyal to you when they're out and they got 1, 2, 3, 4 different men outside that they're sleeping with, okay? And they're coming back to you, okay? And they can give you AIDS too. They can give you STDs too. Because while you think they're being loyal to you, they're not. Because if you're not being loyal to her, she's not being loyal to you. So just understand that. Women lie too. Men lie too. The best thing to do is to have an honest relationship, a truthful relationship, not based on lies. And if a man will cheat on you once, he will cheat on you 1,000 times. So, you know, if you find, you know, people make mistakes, don't get me wrong. People can make mistakes. But in the context of things, you have to look at the circumstances on an individual basis. But my point is that just care for yourself and love yourself more, because I am worried. Okay, I am worried because too many of them films are promoting promiscuity, they're promoting homosexuality, and they're promoting deviant, you know, lifestyles with threesomes and multiple partners and orgies and all these kinds of nastiness, okay? And it is happening. So I'm just saying, protect yourself, because you don't know somebody until you know them. So for me, hold out, yeah, keep your cookies in the jar, right? Wait until you are married, okay? Because that's how it is now. The world is a dangerous place. It's not the same anymore. You can't just go jumping, bed hopping anymore. You have to see that that person proves himself to you and proves himself to be the person that is worthy of your love and that she is worthy of your love. Make sure you wait and you say, you know what? No, I'm not doing that right now. I'm not going to be driven by desire. I'm not going to be driven by lust. Because that is what it is. Lust and love are two completely different things. And lust fizzles out very quickly because it's not based on any foundation. Love is that person that stood by you when you needed them. Love is that person that would defend you when you needed them. Love is that person that protected you when you needed it. Love is that person that makes sure that worried about whether you ate, drank, or slept that day. Love is that person that cares about your mind, and if you're going wrong, they will tell you the truth. They will put you right. They will tell you what you're doing is wrong. They're not yes people. Love sometimes hurts when the truth comes in. It hurts. Sometimes love is that person that tells you, you know what you're doing and your behavior is not right. You're not even communicating with me correctly. You're not even listening to me. Yeah, love listens. Love is not just fighting to get the next word in. Love is about listening to each other, understanding each other, and coming to an understanding. Love is about respect. And respect comes first. And if you're with someone that respects you, they will not cheat on you. If you're with someone who respects you, they won't lie on you. If you're with someone who respects you, they will not be hiding things from you. If you're with someone that respects you, they will not be secretive. If you're with someone that you respect, that respects you, they will not be having, a second life or a second identity, or hiding a bisexualness, or hiding, a secret life, where they're sleeping with their best friend is really their lover, and they're cuddling up with their lover and they're intimate with their lover while they're with you. You don't want that, okay? So just be mindful, because nowadays it's a minefield. Relationships are a minefield, and now it's become very deadly. Okay, they said over 118,000 cases of spousal abuse were reported in Canada in 1 year alone. So this is what I saw from another vlogger. I think her name was Nesline or something like that. So I'm just saying, we have to be mindful, okay, of what we're allowing ourselves to watch and see. Now, what I was saying was that I went off a little bit on a tangent, but it's because I love you, and I want to, I want us to have good relationships, long-lasting relationships, because the majority of relationships are good. Okay, I'm not saying that, but when we do have, rotten apple, we have to chuck it out of the bowl. Okay, so, I'm just saying the type of things that we watch and see can, change our perception and our mind, because that is what they're doing to us. They're using psyops, using the media. Okay, so, like I was saying, the impression of Nigeria, what was it giving to the world? It was showing some same-sex stuff, some infidelity, corruption. And this was a concern to me because, Nigeria's got so many stories, and also showing spirituality to be a bad thing, and then, showing cults and stuff. It became a bit macabre. And so I was really glad that censorship stepped in. Okay, so now amid stricter rules of censorship and curtailing the European influences, excuse me, sorry, I'm just getting a sip of water. Yeah, and now amid stricter rules of censorship and curtailing the European influences of sexual deviance and violence and corruption and negative stereotypes of black families are being reined in to protect the minds and future of viewers worldwide. Well done, Nigeria. Even with the restrictions, Nollywood's Kannywood had a creative boom. The film industry in Kano, which is in northern Nigeria, continues to thrive as a major movie-making hub, churning out hundreds of local productions despite strict censorship, showing that we can still create great African narratives, and they're not based on Eurocentric, based on Eurocentric deviance and Euro-centered norms and values. Well done, Nigeria. Let's give Nigeria a clap on the back for that. It's about time that we take back control of our own narrative and our own artistic expression. It's time for Eurocentric artistic influences stop being our artistic compass. They stop being our artistic compass. We have to stop letting Europeans control what we see as our art, as what we see as our narratives, and what we see as our stories. It's time to come back to the African narrative. That's very, very important. Okay, so this is one of my happy stories this week, is that, we are now coming back to our own. We're coming back to our own artistic compass and reference points. In that being said, a second huge success point has to be mentioned. Lagos Museum, big yourselves up. Lagos Museum, big yourselves up. Lagos Museum Innovation, they have a new museum in Lagos and which is gaining international attention for challenging Eurocentric models of art and history. Yes! Yeah, about time too, okay? So I'll say it again, a new museum in Lagos is gaining international attention for challenging Eurocentric models of art and history, prioritizing African perspectives. What are we doing? We're prioritizing African perspectives, okay? And that is so important. That is so important. And I'm glad that we are doing this both in the movie making area and hopefully the music and now in art. Okay, and I mentioned that I was very perturbed and concerned to see the Pope, under the guise of diplomacy and peace, renewing his grip on Africa. Okay, he visited Cameroon and Angola, where he urged the youth to fight corruption. So why don't we start with the church, the Catholic Church, and their corruption in terms of reparations for slavery? Why don't we start there? You come with your long empty hands. Why don't you start there? Why don't you start there? And what I don't get is that they stop fighting. If you can stop fighting for an old white man, why can't we stop fighting for each other? You have a ceasefire while this old white man comes. I'm sorry, but, no disrespect including, but, this ain't my Pope. I'm not a Catholic. I don't care. Okay, I don't care. So how can we stop fighting for them in all these different separatist groups that we got going on? How can we stop fighting for them, but we for an old white man, but we can't stop fighting for each other? Wake up and shake up Cameroon. Wake up and shake up. Wake up and shake up. Wake up and shake up Angola. It's time for us to stop fighting. They're the reasons why we're fighting in the first place. Okay. Also, other news, right? So Togo, again to act as a diplomatic mediator in the Sahel region. Do we trust Togo? How do you feel about that? How do you feel about that? Let me know. Yeah, they have been appointed, I think, as a regional bridge. So Togo's positioned itself as the diplomatic mediator between international communities and the Sahel region to foster regional cooperation. I don't think it's necessary, personally. I think Ibrahim Traoré is doing a fantastic job. Captain Ibrahim Traoré, leave him to get on. Togo, we don't need you. Bye-bye. So Togo, we don't need you. Okay, we don't need you. We do a perfectly great job with Captain Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso. Okay? So please, Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traoré, we want you to mediate. Okay? You can do a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful job. Okay? That's all I've got to say. And I also got a word out to Ethiopia. Please stop taking IMF money. Okay, you took more IMF money to stabilize your economy. What are you doing that for? You don't need to. It's about time that Africa started to stand on its own 2 feet. If you take their money, they control you. It's as simple as that. Okay, you don't need them to stabilize your economy. You can do it the same way other countries can do it. Okay, so anyway, so BlaXit family, BlaXit family, BlaXit family. I know I went off on a bit of a tangent, but well done to the Gambian armed forces. Well done. Yeah, congratulations to you in having your own training for your own army, your own military. Well done. That was where I started, was talking about us being more militant in protecting our rights, in protecting our countries, in protecting our homeland, in protecting our reparations, in protecting our Pan-Africanism, in protecting our identity, and in protecting our men and our women. In light of what has been happening recently, okay, we're doing the job for them. Okay, and now they're also now going back into their public lynchings, because that's what I believe it was. But do not be scared. Do not allow them to use their social media and their media to try and, create fear. We don't need them. Okay, we do not. And that's what Africa has to realize, and that's what we have to realize as a global African community, is that we do not need them. But we do need to recognize that we are Africans globally, and that is very, very important, okay? I am an African who was born in England, okay? I am an African that was born in England. I'm an African first. That's very important, okay? Now, I want to end just by reading once again what Lieutenant General Mamat Ocham, the Chief of Defensive Staff here in the Gambia, told the cohort of new soldiers which are trained here in Gambia, the new corps that are trained in Gambia. What he told them, and I think is a lesson for all of us, particularly as we're growing up in an age where lying seems to be better than the truth, where deceit seems to be more popular than decency. In an age where over-sexualization has become, more popular than having dignity. And so I want to say that because we need to have discipline and respect. Very, very important. I want to say hello to Queenie 9 say was that JZ 7DF. Greetings to you. Liliani Resurrection. Thank you so much for what you had to say. Okay, so he said, I'm going to end on this. And remember, if you do want to get your repatriation plots, especially in the Kartong area, the Gambian Riviera, which is so beautiful, which I will be filming. So you will be seeing some content, okay? You will be seeing some content. I want to show you how beautiful it is and what you're missing out on. And I told you, if you can't do it for yourself, do it for your future generations. Okay, but make sure they've got somewhere else to go, because when karma hits and crap hits the fan, we all know what's going to happen. And we know what's been happening with the latest Iran war, okay, with the latest things that are going on with Israel, with the latest things that have been happening with America and their madman Donald Duck crazy. I think the man's got dementia leader. I don't know what's going on with his brain, but something's definitely insane in the membrane, if you ask me, with what he's been going on. And, I don't know how he's even still in power, but it shows me that, there are weaknesses in the system that allow a madman to govern and to destroy other people's lives. And, the people have absolutely no say. Why? This is what you call diplomacy. This is what you call demonocracy. It's a demonocracy. There's no democracy. I don't want to even hear the word democracy again. They don't even know what democracy is. Democracy is not going and overtaking other people's countries. Democracy is not going around the world killing people. Democracy and killing leaders of other countries. Democracy, and they have been assassinating our leaders for how long? Just the other day, they killed Colonel Gaddafi's son. You understand? This is not democracy. They're liars. They're thieves. It's about taking the oil. It's about taking the resources. It's about taking the money. Yeah, let's just call it what it is. Yeah, it's just about propagation of other people's wealth, other people's resources, and other people's countries, and taking control. That's all it is. It's nothing else. And that's all it ever has been. Money, power, wealth, resources. Take. Okay, by force and by any means necessary. And if we can't learn from what's happened in the past, we're going to suffer. And that's why I said we need our own strict military forces, particularly for Africa. We need to make sure that we can secure our resources. We need to stop all these unequal contracts and only work on a basis that benefits us in our own interest for our own nations, not our own individual pockets. Okay, so I'm going to read what he's got to say one more time because it really impacted on me, and share this with you, and I'll be back next week. And remember, if you're a black woman out there and you're thinking about going and dating a white man, think again. If you're thinking that a white man's better than a black man, think again. Our black men are supreme. Our black men are divine, and I love our black men. Yes, not all of them are perfect. Yes, not all of them are righted in the head. Yes. Right? They are conditioned to the same things that we are. They are, exposed to the same things that we are. And we are all damaged, and we are all unhealed by their nasty, disgusting system of white supremacy. Because that is what it is. And we are not inferior. We are superior, and I don't care who wants to come at me against. If they think they're superior, so why can't I be? If they think they're superior, why can't you be? We should be proud. I am proud to be an African woman. I'm proud to be living out here in Africa. And I want you to come to Africa, and I want you to join me. Just text me, +220-240-5273 via WhatsApp. Mod, thank you so much. I'd like to thank our moderator today, Kafre, who's been absolutely amazing. Mod, can you put the number in the comment section? Please write it down now before I go. And you can contact us via WhatsApp, via text. That's +220-240-5273. Come and live your life, and you know what you get? Peace of mind, freedom. serenity and sanity. And also you can live debt free. Okay. I'm off the grid. I live on solar. Okay. I live on solar. My fridge is run on solar. My TV's run on solar. My projectors are run on solar. You understand? Yeah. My boreholes run on solar. There's no mortgage. There's no rent. You can live a good life, okay? You can live a good life. I rabba, that's my business. I'm a business developer. This is what I do. I'm a repatriationist, okay? And, you know, I do my rabba. Rabba means, you know, buying and selling. It means commerce, okay, on the site. And so this is what I do. And I just want you, I want you to come and have a taste of this beautiful African pie, okay? Africa is like a beautiful, beautiful mansion with 54 different rooms. You just have to choose one. Okay, I have come back to Africa to live and I love it. I love it. My daily experience is wonderful. And I wake up in peace and I go to bed in peace. And nothing can replace my peace. Now tell me in the comment section, before I go, would you take $250,000 and come back to Africa to live? Just give me a yes or a no. If there was a repatriation package, you know, under this new UN resolution that was passed recently, all right, which, you know, has seen slavery as a gravest crime against humanity and human trafficking as well, right? If they part of that is a package, okay? If you was to have a financial package, would $250,000 be enough for you? Not everybody wants to come back, so only those that want to come back need apply. But would you come back? I would like a quick yes or no in the comment section, and a quick thumbs up before I go, please. I would really appreciate you hitting that like button, giving me a thumbs up, and also subscribing to the channel if you haven't already by hitting that bell icon. I would really, really appreciate it. It would help me so much, and that's all I'm asking of you. Okay, and there will be some new content coming out on the channel this week. Like I said, his wrist is still broken, but we're working with one hand. So hopefully, and I hope you enjoyed my favorite hotel, Bagadashi Hotel. I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know if you did in the comment section. I'll be going through the comments later on today. So yeah, leadership, do tell me, okay? We need to be leaders of our own destiny, okay? We've been led by these crazy people for too long, okay? And we've been led by these crazy people for too long. So it's about time we got, you know, more militaristic, and we started to protect and defend ourselves and understand that it's high time for us to become more militaristic. And when I say militaristic, it's all about defense. Okay, it's all about defense. We have to defend ourselves. And I want, you know, you black men, I want you to start defending the black women. We're being left out here vulnerable, okay? We are being left out here vulnerable, okay? So please remember what your role is. Your role is to protect. Your role is to support. Your role is to provide. Your role is to defend. Your role is to love and to nurture, okay? Because some black men seem to have forgotten, and your love is to respect your black woman, okay? Your black woman, race first, at all costs. Your role is not to go out there and be a player. Your role is not to go out there, okay, and be lazy and just smoke drugs and not do nothing in the house and not raise your children. Your role is to be a good father, okay? Some men have forgotten what their role is. Your role is there to be a good teacher to your child. Your role is there to be a good educator for your child. Your role is there to provide for your child. Your role is there to provide for your partner, your wife. Yeah, for your household. Your role is there to provide a home. The woman's role is also to support you in all of this. And together you rise. Together you rise in love, peace and harmony. Not aggression, not assault, not domination, not lies, not deceits, not secrets, not secret lovers. you know, not doing crime and getting into jail, but being there. So please tell me, would you take the $250,000? Give me one yes in the comment section before I go, as I read this last quote, once again by Lieutenant General Mamat, Lieutenant Cham, for Chief of Defence of Staff here in the Gambia. And he told the gathering, which this is only a portion of it, by the way, okay? He said, leadership. And I want us all to see ourselves as soldiers. Yeah, I want us all to see ourselves as warriors in this war for truth, rights, and justice. Yeah, for ourselves and for our ancestors. I want us to see ourselves as warriors. Yeah, leadership in the military. See ourselves in our African military. See ourselves as part of the protection mechanism of Africa, as part of the protection mechanism of our homes, of our families, of our women, of our nieces, of our, young nephews, of our daughters, of our sons. Too many, single parents out there raising children on their own without financial support from their partners. Okay, without them having an input on the lives of their children. We are letting ourselves down as a community, and we must come together and unify. Okay, it doesn't matter if that is not your child. It doesn't matter if you are a single man. Go for a woman with a child. If you are a single woman, go for a man with a child. Okay, we must stop all these stupid stereotypes and start being, loving to each other, compassionate to each other. And understanding and forgiving, because we can all make mistakes. It doesn't mean that you can't change. We can all change to be a better person. Who you was when you were 16 is not going to be who you are when you're 29. Who when you're 29 is not going to be who you are when you're 38. When you're 38 is not who you're going to be when you're 55. You can change, and life changes you, circumstances change you, people change you. And too many men are also just going for women based on what a woman looks like. No, look beyond that. The same way as she went with this white man for money, you understand, and for what he looks like. No, we have to look beyond that. We have to look to people's character, to who they really are, and that takes time to explore. So any man who just wants to jump into bed with you or what have you is not right. You have to get to know each other, spend time together, get to know each other, and then say, you know what, when we get married, we can then go and get physical, okay? When we get to know each other, when we've set the plan of our lives together, what we're going to do. Because that is how they get in us as well. They get in us because high numbers of people in our community are now contracting AIDS. Okay, it's back again, and we have to stop this. We have to stop this promiscuousness in our community. Okay, it has to stop. So, anyway, he said, leadership in the military is not given. It is built over time through consistent actions, sound decisions, and a genuine concern for those under your command. And I'll extend that. When I'm in command, it could be your family, it could be your community, it could be your children. Genuine concern for your wife, for your lover, for your partner. Okay? This means for your fiance. This means that to be a good officer, you must first hold yourself to a higher standard. That means stop playing out in those streets. Yeah, stop laying down and rolling with whores, yeah, and escorts and, loose women who are happy to be side pieces. They got no standards for themselves. And those men that are happy to be side pieces, they've got no standards for themselves. Yeah, you have to hold yourself to a higher standard, okay? I'm going to start from the top because I think this is so important for us to hear. Leadership in the military is not given. It is built over time through consistent actions, sound decisions, and a genuine concern for those under your command. This means to be a good officer, you must first hold yourself to a higher standard, knowing that your behavior will always set the tone of your unit. So men and women, your behavior set the tone for your relationship, for your life. Even within work, it's the same thing, okay? Okay, you must be disciplined in your actions and consistent in your decisions. All these men that are indecisive, they can't make a decision about anything. This has to stop. You have to man up. You have to start being able to be decisive and make correct decisions, not wrong ones based on the wrong reasoning. Okay? Because discipline is not just about following orders. Okay? You must be disciplined in your actions and consistent in your decisions, because discipline is not only about following orders, but about maintaining self-control. And that is what we're loose on, self-control. You put a pretty woman, you know who seems available, that man's gone. No, it's about maintaining self-control and doing what is right, even when it's difficult. So even when temptation is in your way, learn to do the right thing. Even when that white woman is there and you've got your black wife at home, remember your black wife and remember, have self-control and do the right thing. Even when it's difficult. Because we have to learn to be more disciplined. Yeah, in the same way, courage will be required of you, not only in moments of danger. Listen, we need courage. That's what we need. We need more courage. Too many of our men are cowards. They're weak. They're runners. They're avoidance. They abandon you. They leave you when you need them the most. They're weak. They're cowards. They got no substance. They've got absolutely no integrity, no authenticity. They lie at the drop of a hat because they don't have the courage to be honest. They don't have the courage to be truthful. They don't have the courage. They would rather curse at you and you know, tell you swear words and try and create distractions rather than tell you the truth. It's time for us to stop all this cowardice. Black man, stop following the white man. It's time to follow the black man. We are strong. We are, you know, we as a black nation, we as Africans, we are strong. We are powerful. And we must remember that we must stand in our divinity. We must stand in our truth. We have to stop following the white man's ways. Simple. Simple. They've been teaching us by raising us in their schools, in their countries, in their education, in their religions, in their psychological systems. And we must unlearn it and learn to be Africans again. Learn to be black and proud again. Learn to stand up and come out of their nasty sexual deviant behavior. Stop all this, you know, homosexuality, bisexuality stuff. This is not African. This is not African. Stop all this paedophilia, it's not African. Stop all these orgies and sex parties and threesomes, twosomes and all this. This is not African, it's nastiness. And why? Because you lack self-discipline. Why? Because you lack self-love. Why? Because you lack honor. Why? Because you're not loyal to yourself. Why? Because you don't love yourself. Why? Because you don't respect yourself. So I will finish. He said, in the same way, courage will be required of you, not only in moments of danger, but also in everyday leadership. From making difficult decisions to standing by what is right. You hear what he said? In the same way, courage will be required of you, not only in moments of danger, but also in everyday leadership. Every day we make decisions. Okay, and from making difficult decisions to standing by what is right. And many of us have lost our way between what is wrong and what is right. Because you know what? They've desensitized so many negative things and making wrong right and right wrong. But we have to know, we have to set our compass now. Okay, and taking responsibility for our actions. So I do understand why Africa is censoring certain things, because you know what? It's high time that we start to say, you know what? We're not accepting your deviant lifestyle. We're not accepting your ways. And you know what? Black women, if this black woman has to be a martyr for other black women to realize that, you know, running to white men is not the answer. We have to heal ourselves. Black men and women, we have to heal ourselves. We have to. That is the answer, not running to a race. We need to heal ourselves before we even start dealing with any other race. We have to heal ourselves. Wow, now I've missed a lot of your messages, okay? So Queen Irie says hi. Great, Juliet, look forward to that video. Count said, thank you for bringing some positive news from the Gambia. I'm feeling some kind of way about Africans not fighting back. It's true. Ghetto Intellectual said, Africans must unite. Thank you, the Ghetto Intellectual. Thank you, the Ghetto Intellectual. How are you? Thank you so much, okay? Also, he said, let's go. And he said, yes, yes, yes. Okay, so so many people would say they would take the 250,000. So let's start there. Let's start there. Let's all start saying, you know, give us 250,000 and we'll go. Yeah, Is Hope says yes. Guarda 9 says yes. Liliani Resurrection says yes. The Ghetto Intellectual says yes. I think I missed a few yeses here. Wow, so many of you said yes. Home 84 says yes. Ghetto Intellectual says, up you mighty race. Absolutely. Yes, together we rise, said Is Hope 45. Dowda Bojang 7602 says you are right, sister. And Babacar 6845 says hi. And where am I? Okay, Ebony Maroon, how are you? Greetings, Leandro. Peace and love in the house. Wadanai says we have to stop wearing wigs. Boom! I agree. I agree. We have to stop trying to look like the white man. I mean, I've gone over time, but I'm already over time. So, you know, let's talk on that. Thank you for sharing this great knowledge and wisdom and encouragement. Thank you. Yes, we do need to start looking like ourselves. We need to stop, you know, trying to be duplicate or copycat of the Eurocentric version of beauty when we have our own African beauty. So, you know, I would like to say to you, thank you so much for joining me today. I so appreciate you all for being here and for listening to the great news. Yes, we are beautiful people, says Is Hope. Thank you so much. Okay, and Maroon says, sorry, 95 says, I'm good, how are you? It's a topic of reparations. If not, we need 5 million, my African worth. Okay, so he says 5 million. I threw out 250,000. I threw out 250,000 to see if you'd take it. He says, no, that's not enough. It should be 5 million. Okay, so yes, we did discuss reparations. The first question that I asked at the beginning of the top of today's live was if you could receive, excuse me, sorry, I've got hiccups. 1 minute. I had hiccups for a minute. I think they're gone. Okay, I think they're going. Right, that's strange. If you could receive 250,000 as a repatriation package, would you leave wherever you are in the diaspora and return to a peaceful country in Africa? And I only had one possible, and that was, you know, due to the fact that my wonderful queen, she has felt that she was too old to come. But everybody else says yes. And you have said that 250,000 is not enough. We also spoke about the positive news of the cultural reparation, the reparation that happened in Zimbabwe this week, of the return of the stone birds artifact back to Zimbabwe, which was stolen 100 years ago by colonialists. Yes, them white teeth. Stole it, but it was returned by South Africa, and the President Emerson was very, very happy about it, and you know, we are all happy. We also spoke about the censorship of the media in Kano in northern Nigeria has not stopped them from making wonderful films. without showing Eurocentric timelines, Eurocentric deviancy, and of course the same old negative stereotype and storylines about Africa, which is great because we need a more positive narrative about Africa. So well done. And also the new museum in Lagos, just to highlight what we talked about today, the new museum in Lagos has done something very, very wonderful. They also have decided that they are going to show African narratives also, and what they've done is create a whole their whole exhibition is challenging Eurocentric artistic norms, which is about time. And so I think that, you know, we are having a great renaissance, a European word, but still, yeah, of African culture, African identity, and African love, African unity, and especially our culture, a revival of our culture, which is very important. So, you know, the museum in Lagos, big yourselves up, because there's this museum innovation. A new museum in Lagos is gaining international attention for challenging Eurocentric models of art and history, and we need to challenge Eurocentric views of beauty as well. We need to do that by showing our natural, beautiful African features and skin and hair, and also wearing our own cultural garms, okay? Very important. And prioritizing at all times our own African perspective, art and history. So someone said, Taj 3115, it's hard to make money in the West. Sorry, your comments are going so quickly. It's hard to make money in the West. The system is structured, lots of bills and taxes, rents and mobile lines, and more and more and more. Very true, very true. Return to Zimbabwe, we need African narratives. It's awesome and long overdue, says Maroon 95. And ISO 45 says, bravo for the return of the great artifact. Hopefully this begins a greater return and awakening of these precious items. I returned with only 3,000, and now I'm back in Sudan, and I started a small shop and business. Well done. Well done. Who's that? Taj 3115. Well done. I returned. Listen to this. He returned with only 3,000, I think that's probably pounds, and now he's back in Sudan and he started a smaller shop and business. Well done. And Isotope 45 said reparations should also include free education, African education, I hasten to add, including us being able to learn our languages when we return back. African needs to be very careful of your enemy. Your enemy is not your friend, says Taj 3115. Absolutely, our enemy is definitely not our friend. Can you give me some more thumbs up if you don't mind, please, before I leave? Sorry, I've just gone so fast. Okay. ISO 45 said yes. Babakar said, I'm very annoyed with three heads of states of Ghana, Nigeria, and Kenya. They are selling African universal unity back to the colonial countries. You know what? I've got to say that I am actually in agreement with you because of some of the actions that I have seen recently that have left me rather perturbed. I spoke about them already. We spoke about Nigeria letting America in to go and bomb on their own soil. Complete no-no. Why did you do that? You're the first country in Africa to do that. Like, are you... or what? You know, I nearly said stupid. But no, don't want to insult any world leader. I'm just asking, like, what was the reason? Was you threatened? Was you scared? You know, what about our sovereignty? What about our unity? What about our defenses? And that's why I said I big up Gambia for what Gambia has done. You know, now training and having its own Gambian armed forces that do their own training and have their own training based here, not being trained by any outside forces. Before there was Turkey, there was Nigeria, there was other places, but now Gambia has said, no, we're going to do our own training and we know what we're doing and we're going to defend our own country, which is amazing. Yeah, I hear you. And Kenya, I don't know what Kenya's on. I am absolutely flabbergasted by Kenya. They have made some moves that I just do not even understand. I spoke to, we were talking last week about the various bases and so on, and who had the bases and where they had the bases and who was training America and so on and so forth. And, you know, I'm beyond words with some of the things that they've agreed to, as well as the medical bill that was rejected by Zimbabwe. I mean, why would Kenya agree to it? I don't know. But anyway, absolutely, restoration is part of reparations, totally. Thank you so much, Abinya Manfrey, Maroon 95. Taj 3115, he says yes, thank you. And Taj 3115 says, I left UK. UK is a horrible place and a hostile country. Yes, and this stupid woman Kemi, why don't you go sit down? Do you know, let me tell you something, right? I'm going to make a prediction. I think that they're going to unalive Kemi. The so-called leader of the Conservative Party, who's this Kemi woman married to a white man, sellout, right? Sellout. Maybe even her white man might unalive her. Maybe she's going to be a British lynching, okay? Maybe she's going to be the British lynching, but I think that she's going to be unalived. You know, I had, anyway, let's not talk about, because remember I told you that I had a dream the other day and I saw it was like Donald Duck being hung. Do you remember I told you? And then obviously this has happened to Ashlee, and it's a big thing, seeing her hung. Well, you know, I think that Kemi is going to be unalived. I really do. This black leader who's talking up against, you know, the reason why they should pay reparations is she's a stupid cow. Absolutely, you know, I don't know who she thinks she is. She's forgotten who she is. She's forgotten her identity. She's forgotten where she's come from, and she's forgotten her history. She clearly needs to go back to the drawing board and start again. And, you know, I just have this premonition that she's going to be unalived. You heard it from me here first, okay? She's going to be unalived. I spoke about my other premonitions before, which came to pass, okay? I spoke about the war. It's here. Okay, if you don't believe me, go back to my last program of 2025. So, Kenya is working for the Zionist states of America. Yes, absolutely. Who said that? Okay, Africa is the future for black people, and we need to return before it's too late. Absolutely. Who said that? Tash 3115. Absolutely. Abby Manfrey Maroon. Thank you so much. Babukar said Kenya, yeah, is working for the Zionist states in Israel. Yeah, absolutely. Did you see all of the bees? Did you see all of the bees? What happened in Israel in one of their major cities? Did you see all of the bees? Listen, our ancestors are not sleeping. Let me tell you something. Our creator's not sleeping, okay? Our supreme creators are not sleeping. My divine parents are not sleeping. Listen, they're going to suffer for what they have done. America's going to suffer for what it has done. All of them are going to suffer for what they have done to us. Let me tell you, my sister Karma, she is ready and willing and waiting. They are going to suffer, and we are going to call righteous divine justice on them. You hear? Call your ancestors, call on whoever you pray to, and call righteous divine justice upon all of them, right? On behalf of our ancestors. They cannot resist our voice. Listen, nothing can resist our voice. Nothing can resist our words. Nothing can unhear our words, and nothing can unhear our voice. You hear? Call righteous divine justice upon them. You hear? Call righteous justice on them. America, all of those nations that were involved in slavery of our ancestors and that are still killing us today, call righteous justice on them. Righteous and divine justice on them. Call it. May they get exactly what they deserve to get for what they've done to us. Okay? Okay, so Babaka said absolutely right. If we don't return to the motherland, right? Taj says, just motherland strangers will come and buy all our lands and we will be tenants in our own Africa. This is exactly what is happening. And this is why I say, when I'm telling you, come and get your lands, yeah? Well, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 pounds. It's not a lot of money. It's not a lot of money. You know what I mean? Come and get your lands. At least have somewhere else you can go to. You can even buy one of those, what do you call them house things that you can even put up and live on now. Them see-through house things, you know? They don't even cost much. So come on, okay? Come on. Oh, Babacar, thank you so much. He said you love our programs. Thank you so much. Okay? Taj said, Bomba clap. I didn't finish the end bit. Okay, so remember our number. Okay, if you are interested in our plots of repatriation, and we have Kartong, Naneto, Sion, Gunjur, and oh gosh, so many other areas I can't remember. Don't worry, but anyway, the Kartong Riviera is so beautiful. I want you to come there, yeah, because that's where I am, of course. So please come and get in contact with us. info@blaxitgroup.com. If you don't want to email, it's easier to just text. I respond quicker to text than I do to emails. So you can text us via WhatsApp. It's free. Get in contact with me. Say hi. Yeah, +220 240 5273. Okay. Taj said, yes, this is the most dangerous things. White Central Asians and the Arabs are buying our lands while black people struggle in the West. It's true. I'm not going to lie. It's true. It's happening. And unless we do something about it, this is how it's going to remain. So we have to, even here in Gambia, it's the truth. Okay, we have to start making sure that we start our repatriation packages, okay? And our repatriation packages starts with making sure that you have a piece of land in Africa. This is your birthright. And our repatriation packages, you can pay as you go. Okay, you get your land, you get your documents, we guide you through. We have a whole team to support you, to support your whole repatriation journey. You're not alone. We're here. I've done it. Okay, I'm here. I'm living here. I've been living here for 7 years. Okay, trust me. Oh gosh, you know, I don't even want to, like, you know, I believe that trust is earned. It's not given. And I want to earn your trust, and for you to see that my actions, yeah, and my words will match. Okay. Even recently I was kind of like a little bit sick. I don't know if you know, but I was a little bit sick, and you know, it was so nice to be supported, you know. And for those people that I didn't see while I was sick, I'm so sorry. Okay, I'm so sorry. I do love you still. Okay, but I had to look after myself. Okay, I had to put myself first. So, you know, I just want to say thank you so much for everybody that has supported and always been there for BlaXit, and that is always there in the corner with BlaXit. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I love you. You're amazing. And I just want you to keep watching and subscribing and sharing. I am going to be making more content. I have made more content, actually. It's just not up yet. Okay, and because just intro, outro, So if you'd like to support in that regard, you're welcome to. +220 240 5273. Okay, Liliani Resurrection. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Babuka said we need a West African army, Northern African army, East African army, and South African army to form a universal united army. I agree, actually, and that's why I read what I read. I was very proud of what the Lieutenant Cham had to say, and about what Gambia has done. Taking that initiative has been a wonderful initiative. Very proud of Gambia here today. Liliani Resurrection says land complete with citizenship. That's exactly what we need. Yeah, that's exactly what we need. So Taj 3315 says we need to wake up. We don't need their jobs and working 12 hours in their factories to pay taxes for years. In fact, we're building up their countries and we're not building up ours. We're not building up our home. We're building up the white man's house and we're not building up our home. That's what we're doing. We're building up the white man's house with our taxes, with our time, and we're not building up our home. You have to build up your home first before you build up another white man's land. Yeah, so we're in the belly of the beast, okay? So we need a great universal and university hospital, etc. said Babaka. Absolutely. Oh, in saying that, there is a brand new government hospital here in Turntable in the Gambia. I have not been in there yet, but I will hopefully be going to film it to show you the new hospital here in the Gambia. Brand new, massive hospital here in the Gambia. So I will also show you, what it's like to get care here, and this was built by the government. So when people are saying that, the government's not building or creating things, well, you know what? There's the pudding. The pudding isn't eating, and I'm going to go and show you it, okay? So African leaders must wake up, all black people, to come back and get citizenship upon arrival. Absolutely, automatic citizenship. I agree with you, Taj 3115. We have to unite. We have to unite. That is the way forward. That is the way forward. Absolutely. I agree with you. I'm going to read your comment again, Taj. I think I'm going to pin your comment because I think that... Oops. Replace pin message. That is going to be my pin message. Thank you so much. African leaders must welcome all black people to come back and get citizenship upon arrival. Yes. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, they have all these tourists coming in from all over the world. They're not screening them. They're not doing whatever. Sometimes they overstay their welcome and they're not even questioned. So, so be it. Okay. Account 27, Dave phone says, and you can now start your unsanctioned army yourself. Yeah, look at Hezbollah. Hey, don't hot me up. I don't want don't want CIA coming for me. Yeah, we'll talk about it offline. Okay, so Abin Manfrey Maroon 95 says, nice. I can't wait to see the new hospital in Turntable. Absolutely. Taj said yes. African leaders must welcome all black people. I've done that. Okay, listen, we've had a wonderful live. I've so enjoyed it, and I want to thank you. Mwah. Kisses to you, and lots of love. Remember, we must love each other. This is very important. They're trying to do everything to destroy our love for each other, and we mustn't make that happen no matter what. Okay, we mustn't make that happen no matter what. We must love each other. Irrespective if your relationship breaks down, you get a new one, okay? You'll find someone else who loves you more, respects you more, sees your value, okay, and cares for you more. So don't stay in situations that don't serve you, okay? So Taj 3115 said Lebanese are taking advantage across African countries, and we need to wake up before it's too late. Absolutely. And Liliani Resurrection 714 says, thanks, Caffrey and Juliet, I'll be calling. Okay, and Taj says African, okay, thank you so much. So so remember, we are one people, one nation, right? One unity, one destiny, one love. All right, and we must come together. So please give me thumbs up. Please share my content so more people know about BlaXit. Please, I beg. There's a lot of people out there now, and I'm so glad that there are, to be honest with you. There are some really good, positive content creators out there on the same, Pan-African journey, on the same unified journey as we are on. And I am so glad that I was, one of the people that was involved in the process and part of the movement. And glad to see that we have created change. So love and blessings to you as well, Manfrey Maroon. Okay, so listen, I love you all, and see you same time, 4 o'clock next week, Sunday. 4 o'clock next week, Sunday. Okay. And remember this, if you want to come on and you would like to be a guest on BlaXit, you can. You just need to send a text so we can have a pre-conversation on a +220 240 5273. That's +220 240 5273. And you black sisters out there, stop dissing black men, okay? Stop dissing my brothers. I don't like it. I'm getting defensive now. I'm going to come in punching. Yeah? Stop dissing my black brothers. I'll come in punching. Yeah? I'll defend my brothers. Because you had a bad relationship doesn't mean that all black men are bad. Stop it. Behave yourself. Okay? We've got plenty good, beautiful black kings and emperors out there, okay? Doing a wonderful job, being wonderful husbands, being wonderful partners. And even if you're out there and you're single, looking for love, there are good, beautiful women out there, empresses that are looking for good men. So you don't have to go outside of your race, okay? You do not need to. And we don't have to diss our own race in the process. We need to build up our race. And like I said, we need to heal ourselves first before we even start dealing with any other race in any other context. We need to build ourselves first and take care of business. We need to be race first right now. Okay? So I love you, BlaXit family. Take care, and I'll see you next week.